Hello, I'm Jim Cornell from Labiotech, and recently I visited the capital of Scotland, Edinburgh, which is a hub of biotech activity. I went to talk to two companies, myalgae and IntelliDigest, and it's IntelliDigest that's the focus here. It's located at Heriot-Watt University in the Edinburgh Business School incubator, and without giving too much away, the company is dedicated to global food sustainability.
Thank you very much for coming around. And at IntelliDigest, we focus on food system sustainability. We enable stakeholders across the food system from farm to fork to transition to a more sustainable way of producing, distributing, and also consuming food through technology innovation and also from through capacity building.
And so, what are the issues that you're trying to tackle, and are they sort of local issues or is it a global?
I think the interesting thing is that food is a global issue because every human being, every living thing has to kind of eat something to survive. And as human beings, we eat food, and food is a source of strength and energy and helps with our health and keeps us going. So it's a global thing, it's a global issue. At the moment, considering the climate change issue, the disruption caused by the COVID-19 pandemic, as well as also the conflict and crisis in Ukraine, Russia, it simply means that our food system is completely distorted at the moment, and most people don't even know what tomorrow holds for them in terms of being able to access the food they will eat. And if we leave the issue of hunger aside and people not having access to food, there's a lot of issues around obesity that greater percentage of people globally, over 2 billion people, are suffering from obesity, and that's just because people are eating the wrong food. So there's a lot of demand for sensitization and helping people understand that the food they eat has got a huge impact on their health and also on the environment, and they need to really improve and understand that impact and see how they can mitigate the negative impact food has got on their health and also on the environment. If we want to put in terms of the statistics, we know that the where we grow food today, distribute it and consume it, contribute to 30% of the global greenhouse gas. So that simply means that all the food we eat has got a huge impact on the climate change issue, and also the climate change issue has got a huge impact on our ability to produce food for the future. So we just have to do something if we are able to feed ourselves going forward, and also ensuring that more people have access to good food in the most efficient and sustainable way.
And how do you think biotech helps with addressing that?
Biotech has got a lot of role to play, but what we need to look at is how we can do that in a very sustainable way. And there's a lot of interest currently in terms of how we produce protein and how we get it across to people. The challenge is understanding where the fundamental ingredients are going to be used for that is going to be derived from, because if it's not derived sustainably, then we may face worse challenges than what we're currently facing today. And we don't want to create an understanding within society that people can go ahead and waste and consume unnecessarily and continue to become obese. So we want to help people to use biotechnology in a way that we can help people to eat better food, good food, and not just having cheap food available to eat. So it's about how do we use biotech in a positive way to ensure that people get access to good food, and that's one of the key things we do at IntelliDigest, by ensuring that we can help produce food through recovery of the right bionutrients and being able to use that in food production, so that we ensure that the food we produce is more sustainable. And we also not just doing that, but also providing understanding to people on how they can plan their meal, which is moving away from biotechnology but going into other aspects of tech, software development, artificial intelligence, data mining, helping people understand how they can engage with food in the most meaningful way. So biotech may not have all the whole solution. I think a different aspect of technology will have to be pulled together to enable people engage with food better in the future, and that simply means that more people can have access to good food, because currently we produce so much food that can actually be able to feed everyone. But the challenge is, how do we get it to the right people? How do we get it to people when it is fresh, when it is still good for them to consume, and also help them understand how they can go about consuming it. So that's a lot of work to do in shifting our habits, and then moving to eating in a more nutritious way.
And so where are you at right now with your company?
So in terms of IntelliDigest, we pioneering food system sustainability. We're really passionate about ensuring that we can develop solutions to enable both farmers and also consumers understand how to engage better with food. So for farmers, we're looking at data mining, satellite data, and also using consumer data to help them with how they plan, the way they grow food. And there's a lot that biotechnology can do in this area with regards to the type of crop that is grown, the species of crops that have better nutritional value. These are areas that advances in biotech, being able to understand the genome of different crops could help us better to understand the nutritional quality of that crop, and being able to easily synthesize different crops to say, okay, this is nutritional value that this can offer us, and provide more information to people about how because it's really important that we move towards more understanding the nutritional value of food, rather than just eating food because it looks good, tastes good, and we have it available. Because if you are purchasing a piece of carrot because you're aware of the nutritional value of that piece of carrot and your own nutritional gap as a person, and you know that if you eat that carrot it's going to cover that nutritional gap, then it simply means that the way you engage a carrot will be different from when you see a carrot in the shop and it's cheap and you just buy it because it's cheap. You put it in the fridge, you don't make use of it. It doesn't matter. You just shove it in the bin. But if you know that you've bought this carrot because you have this nutritional gap, and this carrot can help you to fill up that nutritional gap, I think the thinking is a bit different, because you will tend to make sure that you use it. It's just like when you're taking your supplements. If you really have to do it because of medical reasons, I don't think you want to miss that. And I think that's where we really need to move towards understanding that food can do a lot more for us in terms of improving our health and really improving our the environmental impact, environmental footprint that we have. So that's where I'm hoping that, our IntelliDigest is hoping that people will get to some point that every food item you're purchasing, you understand the nutritional value of that and how that connects with your own nutritional gap, and why you really need to buy that food and be able to use it. And we not do without biotech being able to understand and analyze those food items, and also analyze our own understand our own nutritional gap. So these are areas that biotech and data can help us have greater insight, and for us at IntelliDigest, what we're doing is supporting farmers using satellite data, crop nutritional quality, and crop nutrient growth requirement to ensure that we can achieve that and produce better food for the future. And for the consumers, it's just helping them to plan the food they eat, and helping to take that information and provide to the local consumers to produce the food. And this will really have a massive impact in terms of reducing food waste and improving the way we engage with food. So I think moving towards a more circular, sustainable food system would be the right thing to do for the future, and really helping to cut down on food waste and ensure that we don't waste the food that we're supposed to consume. And why this is also very important is that the more we grow food, the more we're degrading our soils and destroying our ecosystem. So if we are able to understand better how to engage with food, even the destruction of the degradation of the ecosystem could be avoided. So there's a lot that's going towards more sustainable food system we do for us, which is why we're really pushing for this, to ensure that more people engage with it. Farmers are having a better understanding why they need to do this, because obviously the cost of fertilizer is going up, cost of herbicides and pesticides is going up, just because of the existing circumstances that we have. So there is really a demand for them to think about how they're doing things and how they can do it differently.
Does that extend to things like, I mean, obviously climate change is meaning that what you could grow much further south, you can now grow further north, and also things like the ability to add proteins into, it's like genetically modifying agriculture?
Yeah, a very good point. I'll be very cautious with genetic modification of different crop items. I believe in variety, rather than trying to get everything to be one food item. So rather, it might be better to have that variety, because the variety also have got a lot of impact on the ecosystem, and also helps in managing, pesticides and issues around pests in the farm. So that's really an important need, because if you look at the food we eat today, we just about 5 key food items. We talk about soy, wheat, rice, maize, and that's it. So those are things that we grow, and we lost the variety we have in the food items that we have. So rather than trying to stop these key items, potato, rice, wheat, maize, and soy, with different supplements, why not we just go for the variety and then be able to use a lot of the nutrient that's embedded in these various food items? I think that's really something that we need to look more into. I'm sure there are areas where genetic modification is really important, but we just need to be cautious how we apply it within the food sector. I think there's need for that variety, just eating various food items, rather than trying to stick to specific food items and trying to stop them, to optimize them using genetic modification. That will be something that IntelliDigest would prefer and will be standing for, in terms of bringing in varieties in the local food production. And when you talk about the climate change and how we can grow food differently, it's not just about climate change, it's about technology advancement. We have, we can now be able to optimize the exposure of crops to light sources, the exposure of crops to different temperature conditions. So there's no limitation to where you can grow anything. It's just whether you have the capacity and the technology to be able to do that. So I think that's probably where where we see a lot of potential, being able to grow food locally, because there's nothing standing in your way from doing that, because now you're not dependent on nature, specifically for light source or for temperature condition. You can actually do that, and provide the right temperature and condition, and also optimize the soil nutrients to be able to grow your food. And when I say soil nutrient, I mean being able to put in bionutrients into the soil, or in a vertical farm, depending on what is available, to be able to use at that point in time. So yeah, there's great potential that more food can be grown locally, and we don't need to ship everything across the world.
Sure. But I think that one of the things with farmers is a lot of them aren't necessarily aware of how to go about that. So that's, I guess, where you come in, is the ability to help them be more efficient and help them grow better, and also be better for the environment as well.
Absolutely. Farmers, the business people the business people that they to be able to generate revenue and generate turnover for their business, and they really need to understand the value of any technology you're introducing to them for them to uptake it. So partly what we do also is to be able to create that awareness and information. That's why we run quarterly webinars. We're bringing people together to share knowledge and talk about what they do, technology advancements, and be able to invite farmers to engage with it and understand what's going on within the technology within technology ecosystem, and advancement in technology that can help them. So definitely there's that importance in supporting farmers, educating farmers, but also financing farmers, because and not just financing them, but being able to create that supply chain for them, because they have an existing supply chain they feed into, and because they need to ensure that they have sustenance, they have the cash flow. If you're telling them anything that is outside that, then it's difficult for them, except if you're showing them there's a different supply chain for them, that if they go with what you're saying, they'll still have the cash flowing for them to keep running their business. So that's really important. So it's not just about educating and letting them know all this in new technology, but financing them and creating the supply chain to enable them deliver on it. So there's quite a lot that needs to be. I mean, the good thing is that we have the UN Food System Summit, which took place in 2021. A lot of governments are really working towards creating regulations to be able to ensure that they can deliver on the outcome of the Food System Summit. Like the Scottish government, they've passed the Good Food Nation Bill, which means that it's enshrined in the Scottish law that everyone should have access to good food, which is a great thing, and so many countries are doing the same thing. And once that is enshrined in law, in regulation, that means that they have to provide enabling capacity to deliver it, and that's what we're working on to see how that can be delivered. So partly what we're going to do on September 29th is also hold an event with stakeholders across the food system, talking about Edinburgh City as a good food city, and this will be happening in different parts of the world too, where government are taking on the responsibility to ensure that everyone gets access to good food, because it's becoming a massive crisis, not just for the individuals not having access to food, but the healthcare issues that government will have to face, just like NHS in Scotland. If people can eat better food, the stress on NHS will be reduced. There'll be less diabetes, there'll be less obesity, there'll be less cancer issues. All we do kind of connects with the food we eat. So I think the government are waking up to the challenges, and rather than just giving people medication, how do people get good food and then mitigate people getting ill or falling for different infections instead.